Excellent.
You're recording.
All right, I think we're good to go. Yeah, so thanks for everyone who joined us. I think we'll have a few more probably join us as we go along here. Tonight, really excited to have Coach Miner with us to talk about system basketball. Former Grants Pass caveman, I believe, and on to University of Portland. If you've ever been to Grants Pass, it's the nicest gym, I think. High school gym going. It's better than a lot of college gyms.
I'd agree. I would agree with that.
Portland Pilot on to coach at Southern Oregon, and now with the men's team at Pacific University of Forest Grove, Oregon. So I'll turn it over to Coach so I can talk a little bit more himself and share more about system basketball.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. First off, I'm excited. Welcome, everybody. There's going to be some people probably joining in. I just saw it was a close game tonight, and probably everybody there, all Canadians, root for the Raptors. Is that right? If you guys are listening and are able to, it's more exciting if I can see some faces. I know I'd love to have this be interactive, a little back and forth. So if you guys can, thanks, Coach. If you guys can, I know a lot of you might not be. There we go. Welcome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, because otherwise it's just like talking to nobody, and at least this way I can get a little feedback and see you guys. Like Coach McKay said, my name is Brant Miner. I'm going to go through a little presentation here. I do have some gear that I could be giving away, Marie, so stay tuned. Matt, Todd, Tony, Jen, Richard, Ian, Mike. So I'm going to share my screen with everybody. And then let's see. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Thumbs up. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'm fired up to be with a bunch of awesome Canadians tonight. I'm in Portland, Oregon. So I am the assistant men's basketball coach, like Coach McKay mentioned. We have a junior varsity team, which we'll touch on a little bit, which is kind of unique. We're a Division III university, and I'm also the recruiting coordinator. So if you guys have questions, feel free to jump in, let me know. You can raise a hand. Don't flip me off or anything, but most of the Canadians I know are pretty nice, so I don't think I'll have to worry about that. But so like I said, I am the recruiting coordinator. So if you do have questions along the way, let me know. Otherwise, at the end, we'll open it up. Here we go. Let's see if I can figure out the computer. There we go. So that just shows a little bit about my playing career. I played, like Ned mentioned, or like Matt mentioned, at Grants Pass High School. Our mascot's the caveman. There's only 3 cavemen mascots in the entire United States, and I was fortunate to be one of them. Won a lot of high school basketball games, which was a lot of fun getting to play. And Coach McKay knows it's a very nice gym. The seating's kind of raised, seating on 3 sides. Has a square billboard or scoreboard in the middle. And after playing at Grants Pass, I had the opportunity to walk on. So I went to the University of Portland, go Pilots, which is in the West Coast Conference. So I have a few claims to fame. I try to work these into every conversation, but I did play in a game when we beat Gonzaga, at Gonzaga. And I know there's some pretty good players, Canadians, that have gone through Gonzaga. And you can see the picture here. You can dates me a little bit because it looks like it's with a low definition camera. Obviously not the most state-of-the-art picture there, but that's Luke Jackson guarding me, playing against the University of Oregon. You can tell I'm the type of guy that likes a good triple threat, right? Just, they didn't have a lot of pictures of me in the game as a walk-on, and the fact that the one on the left there is a high school photo, but the other 2 are from when I was playing in college. But so that was a little bit about my playing. And here's the trivia. So I'm going to open this up for the first person, if anybody can get this right in the chat, what national record I hold. And I know Coach Payne there's like, what? This guy has a national record? So if you guys can guess what national record Brant Miner, as a walk-on, you know I didn't play a lot. You know I did play when we beat Gonzaga, and that I played against the University of Oregon. So if you guys are tuning in, we'll make this a little interactive. I got some Pacific University. I'll get you some gear if anybody gets it right. Coach Payne, I had the most turnovers in a game? Yeah, you can unmute yourself if you want, or you can just type it in there. Fouled out the quickest. Good guess. I like that one. Most assists in a quarter. Nope, that's a good guess though. Trillions. So trillions, which would be a 1 followed by all zeros, right? That's a trillion. So I didn't have the most of those. Most consecutive games without a turnover. I love that guess, and because I did play in 21 college basketball games and I didn't turn it over once. So that's a national record that will never be broken. So with a group of coaches, because I also knew if I turned it over, my ass was coming right back out to the bench, right? So I made sure that I took care of the basketball. I valued it. So I don't know. I think we had Matt meant to say Richard said turnovers. So Richard, I don't know if that's what you were going for, but I think I can get you guys both something to, what is that, Luong, and Coach Payne. So I'll get you guys something. So after this, I'll get you guys my contact information, and you guys can feel free to reach out, and I will send you something swaggy. Is some swaggy? I don't know. Americans don't say that. So don't judge my whole country. Here we go. I'm gonna go back to the slideshow and talk a little bit about my coaching. So fewest turnovers in a college career, 0. It'll never be broken, you guys, because you can't have less than 0, right? So somebody could come along and play in more basketball games, but they couldn't have less than 0. So my coaching, I started out my senior year. I played my first 2 years at University of Portland, and then I studied abroad in Australia and had a lot of fun. But my senior year, I helped coach our women's team. And then I got into working for a private basketball organization out of Spokane, Washington, with a few guys. I was the associate director for a year. Craig Elo, I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with Craig Elo, played in the NBA. Jordan hit the shot over Craig Elo, but he was one of the other guys involved with Higher Hoops. But I missed coaching teams, so I got back into coaching at Warner Pacific College, where I was recruited, decided not to go there, but I liked the coach, Coach Bart Valentine, and I went back, coached with him for a year, and then I got the chance to move back closer to home. So I went down and spent 5 years at Southern Oregon University, which is in beautiful Ashland, Oregon, about 15 minutes north of the California border on I-5. So if anybody knows, Interstate 5 runs from Seattle to LA. Ashland, where Southern Oregon is right off that. My first year, we were really bad, and we got better each of the 5 seasons that I was there. In my 4 recruiting classes, we had 3 of the conference's newcomers of the year. My last season, we were ranked 13-1 and had a lot of really good guys on that team. We had the highest team GPA in the nation that year, which was, I was really proud of those guys. Made it to the Sweet 16, but had a really good season. I finished my master's degree. That'd been most of my pay. I don't know if we have any college coaches on the call. Maybe they're high school coaches, which are all rich probably, but college coaches, it's not the most lucrative profession. So I finished my master's degree, and that had been most of my pay. So I moved back to Portland. I didn't coach for a few years. And then in 2018, I got back into coaching, and I helped both the men's team and the women's team at Pacific University. So go Boxers, go Boxers. So you can see a couple of the pictures there. This is coaching with the men's team. This one, I'm not sure if you guys can see that over there. That's the women's team. But I try to bring a little energy to the bench. So the next trivia, let's see if we can get the next trivia. After this, why I coach. am I a good coach? Ask me 10 years from now when these young men are successful fathers, husbands, members of society. This is my favorite part about coaching. So when Coach McKay wanted me to talk a little bit about coaching, I think a lot of people need to know my why, because it is the most important thing to me, which is seeing kids turn from young kids into men. And you can see the bottom left photo there. That's graduation day when I got my MBA. Tim Weber, the kid in the middle there, played on my club team, 3-time all conference player. Senior year, 8.5 assists a game, 4 triple doubles, and graduated in 3 years, got his master's, his fourth. Great kid. And this picture, I'm not sure if you guys have seen this one before, but it's Coach Wooden and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which that's just an amazing photo of him coaching him and being there. That's my daughter. Shout out Maggie Miner, a bucket in waiting. Now, trivia. What is a boxer? So we're about to hear about boxer basketball. What is a boxer? First person to get it right in the chat will get something with a boxer on it. So if anybody can tell me what is a boxer. Matt, that's a great guess. But that is not the right answer. It is not a dog. It is not a boxer terrier, but I appreciate the guess. I like it. You're tuned in. Let's go. Good guess. Good guess. Type of kangaroo. No, not. I haven't heard that one before. I do get dog a lot. So you're not the first person to guess a dog. But any other guesses before I mesmerize you or inspire you guys by shedding a little light? And don't feel too bad, because it's the only one in the whole country. So there's only one boxer mascot. There's a lot of bulldogs. There's a lot of wildcats, but there's one boxer. So the boxer, okay, time is closed. We're going to go back to the slideshow because you're about to see a picture of a boxer. So here we go. It's not Mike Tyson. Nope, not Evander Holyfield. Let's get this back here. How do I share this? There we go. Here's what a boxer is. Nobody gets any gear for this one. It's a Chinese mythological creature. It has the head of a dragon, the body of a dog. Boxers have hooves like a goat, and most of them have a spirally unicorn horn. No one knew, so save me some gear on that one, but I appreciate the guesses, you guys. So now we're gonna go on with something that matters, talking a little bit about boxer basketball. So the culture, everybody talks about culture, and that's one thing that we talk about, but I know when people talk about it, it's kind of a buzzword. So I always want to ask them, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean? What is culture? How do you define it? And for us, it comes down to belief, behaviors, and experience. That's how you build a culture. So if you have belief, if you have the experience, those are the things that create your culture. So we do a lot in our program. When we talk to each other, we look each other in the eye, we tell each other the truth, and we treat each other like men. We do a lot to try to instill those things. So we do continuous improvement workshops with our guys. Throughout the fall, we're putting once a week, we're spending time with our guys on etiquette dinners. That's one they love, because they get to go out to a nice dinner and figure out which fork to use, because you never know when you're going to go on an interview, a date. You know, these guys need to be prepared. So we're trying to do things, continuous improvement workshops throughout the fall. We meet with every player in our program for 15 minutes every 15 days to go over 15 goals. So I'm not sure who's watching this. I know there's some coaches on. I know I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about our style of play, but I think these things kind of lead us into what is going to make us successful as a system program team. So if you guys don't know what the system is, stay tuned because you're about to be blown away. So we also do team building activities. So we did a crock pot challenge, which was a lot of fun, where we did an activity all day where the guys' food was being prepared in crock pots. They played the game heads up. They went bowling, 3-point competitions during practice. Then we had judges judge their food that they prepared in their crock pot. So trying to teach these guys life skills. And then this season we did book studies during the quarantine pandemic. So trying to build our culture by getting guys that are all like-minded. So you have to have guys that are wired the same. So belief, buy-in, and then if you're getting guys that are self-starters with a strong work ethic, that's how you get to build a culture. It starts with recruiting. If it's our first year at Pacific, we're now in our 3rd season as a coaching staff. There's Coach Lunt, the head coach at Pacific. And we both started 3 years ago. So changing the culture is something we've really been working hard at, and we're very intentional about how we're implementing our culture. And so we have to recruit guys that are wired the same. So the sacrifice is worth the reward, because to accomplish great things, no individual could do alone. So we do off-season shooting workout challenges. So guys have to be self-motivated. We only have to work with our players at the Division III level for 19 weeks a year on the floor. 19 weeks out of 52. There's 52 there, right? I mean, I think it's the same. Okay, I'm just joking. I'm just joking with my Canadian friends tonight. We do grade checks. We do study hall. So the guys 3 times a week are meeting for 3 hours. So Tuesday night, Thursday night, they're in study hall monitored by coaches. We have them 3 hours on Sunday, which is a little more flexible based on football or church or going home and visiting family, things like that. So this is how we're instilling the culture. Core values. So we have 4 core values. So you guys can read that there. There are some values that you should never compromise on. To stay true to yourself, you should be brave enough to stand up for what you truly believe in, even if you stand alone. So our 4 core values: continuous improvement. We're trying to get a little better every day, just a little better. It's not get rich quick. It's not change overnight. It's get a little better every day. Second one is circle of control. So if we can't control it, we try not to spend a lot of time stressing over it. If it's within our control, that's where we spend our time. Our 3rd core value is program first. So we're trying to get our guys to put their program before themselves, and especially during difficult times. And then the 4th one that we added this year is Mamba mentality. Let's go. Mamba mentality is being the best version of yourself. So when you show up, you're the best version of yourself. So having that Mamba mentality, those are the things we talk about in our program. And that's how we're building our culture. Part of what we're doing is building something bigger than ourselves. So we make a conscious commitment to support other boxers in their respective sports. We believe we are a part of something bigger than just our team. So being a boxer, I mentioned we're the only ones in the country. So there is a bond behind our mascot, and we have the most athletes of any school in our conference, a third, which is 33% of our students are involved in some athletic team. So we support each other, and it's about bigger than basketball. So that's a Dwayne Wade quote, but we're trying to help our guys figure out in 4 years, the next 40 years. So it's not just good enough for our guys to show up at Pacific, play basketball, and get a college degree. That's not enough. And a lot of kids and even some coaches I talked to are like, wasn't that why they go to college? Yes, but it's bigger than that. At Pacific, we make our guys get internships going into either their junior or senior year. They all have resumes on file. Every player, boxer, basketball, has a resume on file with their coaches that we update every year. LinkedIn. Marie, you know LinkedIn? You guys know that one? Coach
Oh,
Payne,
for sure. Yeah.
you know it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Facebook for the real world. It's how we explain it to the kids. But they get LinkedIn and they start to build that network and the connections, because we want to have successful alum that come back and donate to the program. No, I'm just joking. Well, kind of, not really just joking, kind of being real about that. But we want our guys to go out and be successful. We also do a lot of community service events. So 3 components of the system: constant pressure. So the system, we averaged 104 points a game and we weren't very good. We pressure the whole game, 40 minutes, relentless, consistent, constant pressure for 40 minutes, never an easy pass. So we dictate how the game's played. Teams don't get to run their system. So teams prepare during the year, putting in their motion. Teams don't get to run that against us because we pressure, we trap. We never let them have an easy pass for 40 minutes. So they either turn it over or they dunk on us. Not gonna lie, we get dunked on a lot, but they either turn it over or they get a dunk before they can set up their motion or plays, right? So we dictate how the game's played, which means we prepare for what we do. We do what we do no matter who we play. No matter who we play, we do the same thing. So we're worried about us. Continuous improvement, circle of control. If we can't control it, we can't control what the other team does, but we can control what we do. So our practices are short. They're intense. Let's not get this twisted. They're intense, but they're an hour and a half. Maybe preseason will go 2. We don't do a whole lot of player development in our practices. We compete. We have a lot of guys. Like I mentioned, we have 42 guys. We have 42 guys in our program between varsity and JV. We play 15 guys, double-digit minutes a night. So some of you guys, I don't know, Todd, Richard, have you guys ever heard? Do you know much about the system? Thumbs up, thumbs down, in the middle? Kind of know a little bit. Marie, do you know anything about it? Not much. You guys are about to be blown away. You've heard of it?
That just seems like a lot of playing minutes for 15 guys.
Each guy plays about 20 minutes. Some guys play more, like 22 to 24. Some guys play 6 to 8.
Okay.
But some are lower. But we want to be, and we're going to get to this, but we want to play at a pace that's faster than opponents have ever practiced or played. We're going to be the hardest working team in the United States. So we're going to dictate 100% of the game defensively. We're going to pressure. It's going to be extreme. Other teams have to prepare for us. Our first game of the season, I'll get you 1 second, Matt. Our first game of the season, they had 42 turnovers against us. We turned the other team over 42 times because they didn't prepare for our style. Matt, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you deny a lot one pass away.
Yeah, that's a great question. We do. And it's unique. I'm going to demonstrate how we do that in a second, because it's not like what most teams think of when you think of denial one pass away. So I'll talk about that. 2 critical elements for the success: attitude. No excuses. Fight through adversity and fight through fouls. We have to be vocal and we have to keep our heads up. Because there's games that we're down at half that we come back and win because we wear teams out. If they're playing 9 or 10 guys, they're going to wear out because we're pressing on makes, we're pressing on misses, we're trapping whenever possible, trying to get steals. So this is a wild system of basketball, which is why I'm thankful that Matt had me lead off, because maybe you guys will think this guy's crazy. Probably. I think it's kind of crazy, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of things that I love about it. Hard work. Body language is the key. It screams. Body language doesn't speak to me, it screams. So if a guy has any type of slumped shoulders, they're probably gonna, their shifts are gonna shrink. We play 3 shifts of 5 guys every minute. So guys come in, they bust their rear for 1 minute, and then they come out, catch their breath, get a drink, and get ready to sprint back on the court and mess stuff up. Get steals. Play like you're down 8 with 2 minutes the whole game. We want to be aggressive as anybody in the country. So extra effort. You can't take it easy. There's never an easy way out. So we're trying to force tempo and pressure, like everything depends on it. So we're not taking it easy. We're not letting any easy passes go. So components of our pressure defense starts with what I said. You have to play hard. We'll play harder than any other team in the country. And whenever I give presentations, there's a lot of people that like, man, that Brant Minor guy is kind of full of it. Like, first off, he tells us he didn't have a turnover in college. And then he tells us that they're going to be the hardest working team in the United States. Yeah, I said it, and I believe it. I believe it. And if you don't, I need to get better players, because our guys are playing for 1 minute, 1 minute stretches, maybe 45 seconds. So you're probably coming out next dead ball. So why not bust your rear back? Why not sprint the lane? Yeah, the guy's probably going to shoot it, but why not sprint down there and try to get an O board? We send 4 guys to the glass on every shot. And if anybody wants this presentation, I'm happy to send it to you. So if you don't want to have to scribble all this down, I'm happy to send it out. Ball pressure. Nobody gets to dribble the ball up the floor against us. So nobody gets to dribble the ball up the floor. So if a guy gets a rebound, you know how lots of times they kind of wait for the defense to jog back on D, get it to their point guard, let's jog up and set up motion. Not against the boxers. You're getting trapped right away when you get the rebound, and we're full denying all your outlet passes. Trying to get a steal, because we want steals, not stops. Not your traditional let's dig in and get stops team. Our mentality is different. No direct passes. So I'm going to see if you guys can see this, because most teams, when I was taught 1 pass away, so say where the computer is the ball. This is my man. This chair is my man. This is what I was taught was denial defense. 1 pass away. So Matt, if this was 1 pass away denial. This would be more like pack line defense if I was more open. We want our guys right here. Yeah, right here. So you're a quarter turn towards the ball, making your guy go back door. So we don't want a direct pass. They either have to go back door or throw a lob. We don't want point A to point B passes. So no direct straight line passes. So it's unique because your chest is towards the ball, not your man. So that's a completely, so kids are like, but no, I've always been taught chest to man, not for the boxers. So we have to get coachable kids that are willing to learn something different. And so I appreciate you guys still listening, that are still listening. If you tuned out already, same price, no extra for listening in the whole time. No direct passes, elevation. So in the event of the lob pass, we elevate. So we're cheating up the floor. So we're not, if our guy's down at the other free throw line, we're probably our guys at half court. So we're elevated towards the ball. So that way they have to try to throw it over the top. We're in what we call quarters. So if you think about dividing the court into 4 quarters lengthwise. So from sideline to like volleyball line to mid-court to the other volleyball line to out of bounds, the length of the court. We are always, all 5 defenders are either in the same quarter or the quarter next to the ball. So if it's on the far left wing, there's nobody that's on that half of the court, the other side. So if the ball's on the left wing, there's nobody that's on the right half of the court. Everybody has to be in that quarter nearest the ball or in the same quarter as the ball. We really emphasizing move on the pivot. Most people say move on the pass. People that aren't very good move after the ball has already been received. Good teams that traditional style move on the pass. We move on the pivot. So we're anticipating, we're trying to read things, we're trying to get steals. So when we trap, both defenders have to sprint out. We're trying to get deflections. Both have to sprint out, and we say see and fix. Because you got to try to figure out, okay, where can I rotate? What's the next pass that's coming? And how can I get a steal? Deflections, biggest weapon in creating turnovers. If you can change their pass a little bit, that gives our guy more time to fly through and try to get a steal. Because we're going to err, it's on the side of aggression. Nobody is going to say the boxers are soft. Nobody's going to say the boxers don't play with extreme effort. So again, our success in the system depends on how hard we play, how much we pressure the ball, how much we communicate. I've been very fortunate to spend time in the summers learning. I've been back to Duke 9 summers. I was at Tennessee when Coach Pat Summitt was there, the GOAT of women's coaching, and Coach K, the GOAT of men's coaching. I'm very blessed to have been able to spend a couple summers with both of those coaches. And Duke, we did play them when I was in college. They communicate. It's scary. You bring the ball across half court, and ball, and it's just, whoa, like, chill out almost. Like, take the ball. But communication, you have to communicate. You have to get to quarters. We have to see and fix when we rotate, and we send 4 guys to the glass on every shot. 4 guys trying to get a rebound, trying to get the ball back for us, trying to rebound. Let's see, here we go. Playing as hard as you can. I think I mentioned that. I hope I'm getting that across, that we're going to play hard. We got to get turnovers. So if you guys are analytics, we're very analytic based. We talk a lot about points per possession, which we'll talk about on the next slide. But we want to get 29% turnover rate. 29%. So 29% of their possessions, we want to end in a turnover. 29%. Offensive rebounds, we want 35%. So of our missed shots, the shots that don't go in when we shoot, and they're probably coming from 3, we want to get 35% of those back. Those are our team goals. We want to have 1.15 average points per possession and hold our opponents to less than 1.15 points per possession. So we'll talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. Relentlessness, effort, and selflessness. What's your res level? What's your res level? How relentless are you? How much effort do you play with? And are you selfless? Are you selfless? And I'll tell you, I've been doing a lot of these Zoom recruiting calls lately during the pandemic. And that's what we're stressing, is we got to get guys that are selfless and tough. If you're selfless and tough, you take care of business in the classroom and you play with max effort and you have resiliency and you're selfless, you're an OKG. Our kind of guy. That's what we call them, OKGs. Our kind of guys are selfless and tough and have a high res level. Here it is, trap. We'll trap at every opportunity because it's all about tempo. We're going to run the fast break on every possession. Our shot selection is based on outside in attacks. Our first option, if you're within range, and you can get it off, shoot. If we can get it from an attack, if you can get inside and then kick, it's a 1.39 points per possession. So that just shows you that attacking the paint, getting to the nail and kicking it out, we get a better look. So 0.82 points per possession if you don't have an inside attack first. The second option, we're trying to get our guys to either get to the cup or shoot a three or a free throw. So we're of that mindset that we don't really need mid-range jump shots. And this is just because we want to get as many possessions as we can per game. We want to get 100 to 110 possessions per game. Most teams that play fast get 75, 80. Teams that play slow, Virginia, they're getting in the 50s, maybe low 60s possessions. We want 100 to 110. It's unique. It's a different style. It's a different style of basketball. So the mid-range is second worst. So you're getting 0.84 points per possession. The third option is swing the ball, but we don't want it to be a swing. We want it to be an attack the paint, kick to a shooter. 4 to the glass on every shot, trying to get a rebound. We're going to play 5 guys in, 5 guys out. I saw one, maybe it's just because most of us are Canadian here tonight. So I think I saw something reminds me of hockey subs, right? Fresh legs approach, but it is novel and unique. So it is similar to fresh legs approach like you would have in hockey. So it's unique, it's different, it's definitely something that you have to be a little bit crazy to try to implement. But Pacific, where we're at, hasn't been very good in 20 plus years. And by good, I mean they haven't finished in the top half of the conference since the 90s. So that's what we're working with and what we're changing. And you guys right here tonight are kind of in on the ground floor because we were really bad our first year. We weren't very good last year. If we get a season this year, we're going to be pretty good. But next year and the year after, we had the freshman of the year in the conference in our first recruiting class. And he got 20 a game as a freshman. And he's a bucket. And he's back and better as a sophomore this year. Every shot he hits his senior year will be a new school record. So he's going to have a great career and he's going to keep getting better. So you guys are kind of in at the ground floor. Like you guys are smart enough to understand buy low, sell high, right? Like Pacific stock, if we were a stock, we'd be like really cheap because we haven't been very good. So if we get the right pieces, which we recruit a lot of guys. Like I said, we have a JV team. So it's a completely different than any Division I school, right? Because they have 13 full rides. Division II, NAIA, they have scholarships. Junior colleges have scholarships. We don't have athletic scholarships. So we have to go out and recruit a lot of kids. They come and have to earn it. So that's why I love the system for the Division III level, is because I have to recruit a lot of kids and I bring them in and they all have been told the same recruit pitch that everything's earned, nothing's given. You will be a boxer basketball player, but that doesn't mean you're ever going to get to play. That doesn't mean that and maybe you're not ready for varsity, but you're a good high school player, but that means maybe you'll play JV for me. But we want guys that want to come in and earn it. No entitlement. Nothing's given. Everything's earned. Whether you were the third best player on your high school team or first team All-State, there's nothing that's just given. Everything has to be earned. And so we bring in a lot of guys, let them compete. Practices get kind of competitive. and guys are trying to get in one of those 3 shifts so they can play. We play 18 to 20 guys a night. So it is kind of something that I've never played. I've never coached prior. To be real, never even seen anything like what we're doing at Pacific. I mean, there is other system teams. We're a little unique in that we're doing it not just to score. I mean, we want to win. That's our main goal, is we're going to win. Our head coach was at another school in our league for 12 seasons as the head coach. So he knows, and he went to another school in our conference. So he's been at 3 of the 9 schools in the Northwest Conference. So there's not a rule as far as how many you can have. So I think like Division 1, they might be like a 12-man dress. Division 3, we can't work with our guys outside of season. It's a unique situation that I'm in. And so I definitely recognize that. And I don't expect to have converted any of the coaches on the call tonight to the system, but hopefully I can shed a little light on what it is. And when you hear it, Grinnell kind of started it. Loyola Marymount back in the 90s ran a little variation of the system. The year they averaged 124 a game. Greenville has been really, really good at the system. So if you guys look up Greenville, they averaged 132 a game just a couple years ago. But Greenville is better at the system than we are right now. But when we get in a few more OKGs, maybe next year we'll get one more newcomer freshman of the year and start stacking these recruiting classes on top of each other. People are going to hate to play the Boxers. People are going to be like, shh, I don't know who's going to watch it, so I won't say the SH word, but they're going to be upset when they have to play Pacific because they might have 50 turnovers. I don't know how this will, because I know most of the Canadians I know are really nice, and I don't know how this would be taken, but I put up over 100.5 this year, Coach Payne. Have you had 100? I put up over 100.5, and people, and they didn't have close to 100, but I'm not going to ever let my kids not play hard, and we're going to do what we do no matter what. And that's one thing that the other coach wasn't that mad. He knew he had to get his guys better. I mean, but we're going to not change what we do. We're going to mix up some things. I mean, we only put up 154 that game. So it's not like we kept that 102-point pace, but we want to do what we do no matter what the score is, no matter who we're playing. We want to be the hardest working team for 40 minutes in the country. And so to do that, we go on big swings. So we'll be down 12, come back and win. Evergreen State, we were down 12 with like 4 minutes left and won by double digits going away because they started throwing the ball all over the gym. They started throwing elbows. They started getting pissed that we were still trapping them, and they were exhausted because they only had 9 guys, and our guys were sprinting on the floor every minute trying to get them to turn it over. So some teams are like, we know how to beat it. We're going to play all 12 of our guys tonight. So now you got 9, 10, 11, and 12 that aren't used to being on the court, and they're trying to get sped up, and we're trying to turn them over, and we want to steal the ball. We want to rip that little guy that's not used to playing a lot. So if teams try to play a lot of guys, that's the strategy against it. But all week, teams are like, how are we going to break their press? What are we going to do? So, and I know that because they're calling out boxer press break, run boxer press break. So they've spent all preseason working on their motion. They get to play us. They spend all week preparing for us, and they don't get to run into the plays they've worked on all year. Where our practices are short and intense. Guys are getting their skill development in outside of practice hours. And we're going to try to make every team not want to play against us. Not just the teams that we put up 102.5, but we want every team to kind of dislike us. And that's okay. I want to be respected, you guys, but I don't necessarily have to be liked by my opponents because I know I like the guys that we usually beat. And no foul trouble. We got 20 guys on the bench. And it's nobody's bigger than the team. It's a system. Nobody's bigger than the team. You can hit a couple threes in the first half. You're probably coming out next dead ball because it's all about tempo. It's all about you being fresh at the end of the game when their best players played 36 minutes and our best players played 21. And your best player's been pressed for 38 minutes, and you guys might be up 6, but you guys are starting to run out of gas, and we're getting stronger because we've prepared and practiced and worked harder for this than you have. So I love the system. I think as a Division III, it's the perfect thing for us. Our school is very expensive. It's a very valuable degree that you can get from our university. But it's different than anything, like I said, I've ever played, coached, or seen. Like, okay, trivia time. I've been rambling. I get excited talking about the system. Trivia time. If anybody's still listening, if you can see me and hear me and hear me and see me and are still listening, trivia time. Are you ready? Who can get, so a lot of threes. A lot of people talk about a lot of threes. So what would you guess is a lot of threes to shoot in a game?
Attempts or made?
Let's go attempts first, Marie. Attempts. What's a lot of attempts? 100 would be a lot, Richard. 125, and we're talking 40-minute games. 40-minute game. So that would be a lot. You're right. I like it. I see you chuckling there. 90, 80. Those are good. If this was, what's that? The one with the big wheel. Let's make it. Price is Right. If this was Price is Right, Matthew McKay would be the only one that would still be eligible because the correct answer was 74. So some close guesses, but Multnomah, when they played us, shot 74 threes against us. Now, guess how many they made, okay? How many did they make out of 74? How many did they make? 11, 23, 25, 19, 17. Let me just, 15, Richard says. So they shot 74. A lot of threes, quick, right away. They made, I'll just give you this. They had a guy set the new school record for most threes made in a game in the history of the school. Pretty cool, except for at the end of the night, he didn't hold the record anymore. Is that what's happening to the screens and the faces that I can see and the faces that I can see? Mind blown. They had a guy that went 13 for 23. 13 for 23. So 13. So but his teammate, Justin Martin, bucket, the same night went 14 for 28. So nobody was close. The closest, what's the highest there? Coach Payne said 25. The correct answer, 38. 38. They made 38 threes. And I'm able to kind of chuckle about this because it was our first year, right? Our first year implementing this system. And we ran into a team that got hot. They were hot. They made 38 threes in one game. But we're doing what we do no matter what the score is, no matter who we're playing. And so I've never ever said, I mean, we scored 124 in a game that we got blitzed, right? But if we would have played a 45-minute game, we would have been really close. 50-minute game, we would have beat those guys. 45-minute game would have been close. 40-minute game, we lost by 20. But they made 38 threes, you guys, and we lost by 23. It was 147 to 124, like a video game. Like a video game. It was the wildest thing I've ever been a part of. I mean, I've never been in a game where a team scored 124 and got blitzed. I've never had my team, but we were down by like 40 some and we were on our way back, but just got ourselves in a little too deep of a hole with how hot they were. But yeah, 9%, they shot 52% on the night on 74 attempts. That's pretty. But Justin Martin, like I said, let me just tell you a little bit more, just real quick. And I don't know how much time we have. I get excited and start rambling, Matt. So they had Justin Martin. Justin Martin had a game. He goes off for 71. And this isn't a team that's playing the system. He was 15 for 19 from three. And that's like, I think we have the same distance 3-point line in the United States as we do our friendly neighbor to the north, I think. So 15 for 19, that's pretty good with nobody guarding you, toe to line, right? Like if I go 15 for 20, I'm pretty stoked. 75% with nobody guarding me and my toe to the line. He did it in a NAIA basketball game with dudes 6'7", 6'8", trying to get him not to shoot. We're all coaches. Think about that. The guy gets 10 of them. You're not going to let him shoot again, right? He's got 12? The guy's got he's 12 for 14, and you're going to let him shoot it again? Wait, he's 14 for 18, and he gets a 15th look for a make? So he's not very big, but Justin Martin was really fun to watch play. I wish he would have been on my team, but he was a bucket. He had 70 in a couple games and really good player. But, well, I appreciate you guys with the trivia. Matt, we can open it up if Matt or if anybody's got questions or anything you want
we can
talk
open the questions. I'll ask one first, Coach. So I know you say you don't do a lot of skill development stuff necessarily in practice. So what does sort of practice look like at Pacific in terms of installing all this?
Yeah, so you're right. Like a lot of the player development we're able to do with the players, but we do it outside of the actual like organized practice. We have individual development, but the practice, a lot of it, well, this year is unique because of COVID and having to practice. We had about 4 weeks where we could go with masks and no contact, but normally it's a lot of trying to build the concepts because people think it's chaos and it looks kind of like chaos, but we have probably 10 different like press coverages. So sometimes they're all aggressive, but it's where the traps are coming from, what we're denying. If we're taking away a reversal pass, like that's one that we get a lot of steals because we take away the inbounder. And we're trapping and we're taking away the inbounder. So if they break that trap, we have 3 guys behind the ball. So we're really trying to steal that return pass to the inbounder. So we're talking about like the different coverages we do. A lot of our offense is built around high ball screen, get downhill, try to draw a guy and a half, make him lean, kick it, shoot it, 4 to the glass. So but a lot of that is just knowing where to cut, where to space. A lot of guys want to come to the ball instead of when the ball is being dribbled at you. So it's kind of like a dribble drive attack that we do. So we're trying to get fast break points. And then the secondary is more, so we're just trying to install what we do. And then we do compete. We want to see the guys compete in practice. So X-War rebounding gets kind of physical at times. We just want the guys to compete and teach them how to make reads. So that's what we do a lot of practice time, and we don't have to go over the other team's plays. So we're not having to say, okay, here's what they're going to do when they don't get to run their horn set because we're trying to mess it up. We're trying to blow it up right away, and they might dunk it, but we'd rather have them turn it over. Obviously, I'd be a really crappy coach if I said it was okay or it was good for them to dunk, but sometimes being aggressive, you do give up some dunks. But then you get the ball to the net before it bounces and you sprint the other way as fast as you can and you hit a 3 while they're still celebrating their dunk. We got some great highlights. I'll have to try to find them and share them with you guys, but just resiliency. Next play, good or bad. You made a great play, DMGB, right? Doesn't matter, get better. That's our mindset. Doesn't matter, get better. So you're the best team in the conference. Doesn't matter, get better. So you finished last. Doesn't matter, get better. So practices are during the season. We'll play Friday, Saturday nights. and usually it's different teams Friday, Saturday. And then we will take Sunday off. Monday we'll watch film and guys will shoot. Tuesday we get after it pretty hard for about an hour and a half. Wednesday, hour and a half. Thursday is more like an hour 15. And then we play Friday, Saturday. But this year we'll have 2 teams and play each team 4 times. Not ideal, but we're hoping that we can at least get to see the floor and compete a little bit. So we're going to play George Fox and Linfield 4 times each. So yeah, practice. And then outside, we're doing a lot of shooting on the run, full speed, break your body down, step into your jump shot. But practice rebounding drills, toughness drills. The guys are making 2003s a week on their own time outside of practice off a Dr. Dish shooting machine. So the guys have to learn time management for sure. Good question though. Hopefully that answered a little bit. What else you guys got? I'm happy to talk about anything or everything that I can help you guys with. I know it's a little crazy. Matt, you got one? You want to can you unmute yourself there? There we
Yeah,
go.
I got a couple. If you have any Dr. Dish drills, if you could send those, that'd be really appreciated.
Yeah.
My biggest question, I guess, is we have grade 9 and 10 kids right now who are going to be like aging up together, and we got a ton of them. We have 25 kids. We make no cuts. Doing this type of system would be like, it would be really fun, and we'd probably kill single A teams if we did it. But we also work with a really traditional head coach who wants to just run his sets, and we don't have much practice time. So my question really is, and this question I'm asking a lot these days, is how to just get a really traditional coach to just consider other options.
That's a great question, Matt. That really is a great question. I love it. I love where your head's at, because this would be a lot of fun if you have a lot of guys that if you have 7 or 8 dudes, like I did at Southern Oregon, we wouldn't run it. But at the D3 level, it's not like we have the scholarships to go just pay a certain number of kids. So we have a lot of kind of similar type kids. Obviously, Nick Drinen is a bucket. He's kind of an anomaly, but there's a lot of guys that are similar, not standouts. So how would you get, I think
I'm talking just anything. I'm talking about getting from a
just
deny
outside
to
the box.
I'm talking about not setting up, like teaching the kids low post plays, even though we have like maybe 1 out of 25 kids that's going to get in the low post.
Man, has it been working for you guys? Have they been winning, or?
We win it. We've been winning at a lot of levels. Just, I don't know. We play single A. We're the smallest division in BC, but we've been doing pretty well. We lack
coach has been there a long time.
Coach has been there forever. Yeah, coach built the system.
Man, yeah, that is a tough one, because a lot of coaches get kind of stuck in their ways and what they're comfortable with. I think, that's one reason I really like Coach Krzyzewski at Duke, is because he's adapted and changed over the time to stay relevant with 18-year-old kids. He's like in his mid to late 70s now, and he's still getting the top kids. I read an article from 1992, and it said Coach Mike Krzyzewski's at the pinnacle of his career. That was 92. I don't know if he peaked out in 92, but he'd won back-to-back national championships. But his book, it's called Leading with Heart. It talks, and Beyond Basketball is another really good Coach K book, but he talks about having to adapt and adjust each year because it's changing, and he doesn't want to get left behind. And so that might be one you could read, and maybe that might give you some ideas that you could, or tell him to read it maybe. But I think that to me is like, how do you stay relevant? How do you stay current? How do you stay, like Coach Calipari was beating him because he was getting all the one and dones, right? And Coach Krzyzewski was going after the 4-year guys, the guys that'd be there all 4 years. They won a lot of games with 4-year guys: Christian Leitner, Bobby Hurley, Wojo, Trajan Langdon, all these guys were going for 4 years. And then the top players were just going for 1 year. And so he was only really recruiting 4-year guys. And then about probably 2011, 12, even their second to the last national championship, 2010, they had junior Kyle Singler, Nolan Smith, Lance Thomas, Zubak, those guys, John Shire, who now sits next to Coach K, those guys were all like juniors and seniors. 2015, they won the national championship, and they had a bunch of freshmen, Justice Winslow, Shaquille Okafor. So he adapted and changed his style because he saw that if you're going after 4-year guys, you're not getting the best players. And it's a lot easier to win games when you have really good players. I know that's a simple thought, but I don't know. We say it's a lot about the Jimmies and Joes and not as much about the X's and O's. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but that's so true, right? Like, you can be a great coach, and if you don't have any talent, it's a lot harder to win. But if you're a mediocre coach and you let the guys have freedom and let them play and have some fun and run up and down, you can look like a great coach. And so I don't know. I wish I had better advice for you, Matt, but I think that Coach K, if you could find a way to get to a library or find Coach K, one of those, either Beyond Basketball or Leading with Heart, he has a couple good chapters in there that talk about staying up with the times. And, he says one time he was giving this speech after a game and he felt like he'd just given the Gettysburg Address of motivational talks. And he walks into the locker room and his 2 assistants are like shaking their head and they're like, what the are you talking about? Like, they had no idea, and none of the players knew either. And Coach K is like, I learned something. That's why I hire my ex-players to be my assistants. So if you notice, Coach K, all of his assistants have all played for him. All those coaches, his whole coaching tree, Johnny Dawkins and Chris Carrawell and Capel and all those guys that were his assistants played for him. But he's like, they're able to at least give me kind of the truth when I think I'm getting something across, getting my message across, and it's not coming across. So I thought that was pretty good insight, but hopefully that can help a little. Whoa, there we go. People are jumping around on the screen. What other questions? Anybody have anything else that they want to ask about? Matt, anything else you want to? I know I get a little wordy, I get excited, and I talk a lot. But if you guys have questions, I'm happy to try to help.
I think we would all just appreciate any drills or resources you have.
For sure,
especially for dribbling and penetrating and shooting. A couple of us attended the last Sands clinic, and we learned a lot about like the 3-on-0 rotation and like where you should be driving, where you should be moving to. So we've been implementing that. So like anything more would be great.
Great. Yeah, I have I can send you some of the shooting workouts and competitions that we have our guys do, which it's really pretty neat to see because they're fun and competitive. So we have like shooting 3-point golf. So it's 18 shots. If you swoosh it, it's like a birdie. If you make it but it hits the rim, it's a par. If you miss it, it's a bogey. And so just kind of fun competition like stuff. So there's some drills and some competitions. So I'll get that to Matthew. I'm gonna put in the chat. I'm gonna put in my email and my cell phone number. Coach Miner at pacificu.edu. And you guys call them cell phones, mobiles. Sorry, there's my cellular telephone, my mobile device there. And I love talking basketball. As you guys can tell, I'm very passionate and excited about basketball. It's my hobby, it's my passion, it's my occupation, my vocation. But I'm always up to talk if you guys want to get on individually sometime and we can chop it up and I can tell you what it was like to get that club trill against Gonzaga. I usually don't finish with this part, but I will, before I cut off, tell you guys that the game that I played when we beat Gonzaga, I played 3 seconds. But we did beat them. Let's go. Go Pilots, right? So that's not bad, right? Like, I mean, I guess it'd be better if I said that I was the star player when we beat them, but not a lot of people can say they go to Spokane and knock off the Zags in the kennel. So, but yeah, Zaga, Spokane's not a bad place, but I'm glad I live in Portland, not Spokane. So you got the Zags on there. You got a little GU Bulldog. Yeah. Hoop Fest is awesome. I will echo that. Matt Santangelo does an awesome job with Hoop Fest. If you guys don't know Hoop Fest, 25,000 players in a 3-on-3 tournament. Not one division. That'd be crazy. But there's the over 75 division and the under 4 division and the co-ed division and the special needs and the unified. And it's just, if you like basketball, I think we're probably in agreement that everybody on this call likes basketball. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent an hour and 10 minutes listening to some random guy that you've never met talk. But if you guys like basketball, Hoop Fest is an awesome time. And you guys have my information now. So if you guys want to come to a game, reach out. Probably not this year because we won't have fans, but all of our games are streamed. So get a bag of popcorn, stretch out your neck a little bit. And our hashtag was what just happened. Because that's what people say when they watch. That's what they say, Marie. People say, what just happened? Why did they take out all 5 starters? There's still 19 minutes left in the game. Why did they sub everybody out?
I came from hockey. Hockey was my sport, so that's where I go. That's where my head goes. I'm like, this is totally like a hockey game.
It is similar. You want to have fresh legs, right? Well, thanks again for having me, Matt. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop recording here. Unless there's anything you want to add at the end of this.
Just thanks a lot, Coach, for coming and sharing with us. We're back next week at 8 o'clock again with Coach Jordan, who I see on the call. He's going to be talking about some ball screen offense with us. So, I just encourage everyone. It's a lot of fun. You can find some boxer games on YouTube, I think, from last year or the year before. So you can see